probably one of the best days we've had. Still, we had a 3rd and 1 down inside the 2-yard line that we didn't convert, so never going to be completely pleased. But statistically, obviously it's going to help our numbers. But the reason we were able to sustain drives, we had some long, 14, 13 play drives because we were efficient on 3rd down.
Trevor Lawrence, how effective he was today with his legs, especially the 3rd and long. I mean, you guys should give him full autonomy with his 3rd and long.
Especially in certain defensive structures, if they're gonna play 2 safeties and play man coverage underneath, they can't account for the quarterback. So we tell them, obviously, we have some design runs in those 3rd down situations. More of the speed option stuff that you saw was design run where he could pitch it or he could run it. Thought he did a really good job managing that. But if they're gonna drop back and play everybody in coverage and give us running lanes, then he's got to take advantage of it and move his chips.
How much easier is it to manage this time of the year? Championship game, recruiting and stuff. Since you've been through it now, so many.
It's never easy because you're dealing with 18 and 22-year-olds. You live in a social media era where they're constantly bombarded with potential distractions. And so, yes, we have some experience over the last several years. We know the things to look out for, but at the end of the day, you got to challenge your men to stay focused. And as coaches, you have to stay focused so that you can emulate to them what it takes to be successful day in and day out.
Well, okay, a different way or a different question. You have the 80 freshmen and sophomores. How impressed are you with the way they've sort of handled the grind of this season and stayed focused?
Really impressed. Because I think back to Travis when Travis first got here, man, he wasn't ready to go a 15-game schedule. And I think these guys, one, the quality of young men that we're able to attract and recruit plays a lot into that. They come from championship caliber programs, so they're used to playing into the postseason. And then we got unbelievable senior leadership that has really not only been a spoken voice to them, but they've emulated with their actions and their ability to stay focused, which resonates down to the young people. And we're constantly reminding them, through different other teams' mistakes and pitfalls, and then also some of their successes.
I don't know if anybody asked you about this, but Dabo and Muschamp mentioned McKissick. Can you sort of say something about that?
My heart goes out to the family, and I text Joe Call, his grandson. He and I are very close. And I tell you what, growing up in the state of South Carolina, my best game as a high school player was versus Somerville, and that's because even though I was playing for the Trojans, I was trying to show Coach McKissick that I would have been worthy to play for him because he was a standard. That's for everybody down in the Low Country. And then when I became a coach, even when I was at South Carolina State, Furman, he never treated me any different. He welcomed me with open arms, and him and Coach Wilson down there at Somerville, I could always tell that they were genuinely proud of me, right? They appreciated what I was doing, and that gave me encouragement. You're talking about Coach McKissick, who at that time probably already had 500-something wins, that he's humble enough to treat a young man like myself who was at SC State, with the grace and the dignity that he did. That just speaks volumes. So my heart goes out to his family. But what a life. That's what I told Joe. I said, man, what a life. And I'm blessed to have had a relationship with him, to be able to call him my friend, to be able to call him a mentor. And just the things that I'll take away from his life is commitment, consistency, how much he poured into those young men. And I think I read a quote from Zach Bailey, who played for him, who I recruited out of Somerville, who actually played here at South Carolina, just the passion that he had in talking about his coach. And he loved his wife. He loved his grandkids. He loved all of his kids. He just had a giving heart. And we're going to miss him. But I told Joe, too, man, I'm confident that I'm going to see him again. And I just thank you for what he's meant to football, what he's meant to the state of South Carolina, that he gives us confidence to continue to do things the right way, the way it should be done, going forward to carry on his legacy.
Coach, sorry I came in late, but what were your overall thoughts on the game today and the offensive performance?
Man, excited for these guys to be able to win their 6-1 in a row. Still a couple things to improve upon, but you talk about a rivalry game, no turnovers, very efficient on 3rd down. Be able to score points. And really the only thing that we want to do a little bit better is when we get the ball on the 1 or 2 yard line, man, we need to punch that in. And later in the game we were able to do that, but that first drive just weren't quite able to punch it in. And but we were able to rebound and come back from that, and that's what championship teams do. And so really overall just pleased with the execution, the way they came out and the way they battled, the way they fought, and they really put in the work to earn the victory, and that's the thing I'm most proud of.
Yeah, Jeff mentioned this time of year you got to start maybe going a little deeper into the tricks and moving Justin and T around some. Just what was that thought process going into this game to try to find those matchups?
We're talking about going into game 12, and this is the first time we've actually had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. And so you really want to – it's not about the coaches. It's about the players. And our job is to put them in a position to be successful and get them touches. And that's what we want to focus on. And obviously we want to have some fun too. These guys want to have some fun, but you never know what bullets you're going to need, when you get to the championship phase. So that's why you've seen some more of the more exotic plays. But then at the end of the day too, you still got to be good at what you do. So being able to just have the assortment of those kind of calls, at your disposal. But then more importantly, you got young men that believe in everything that we're doing. They believe in the process of preparation, so they go out and they execute.
I don't think we've talked to you since Travis wasn't a Doak Walker Award finalist. Just your thoughts on that and kind of
that's
Dabo seemed pretty
upset. I know Dabo's opinion, and I understand that too, and I feel what he feels. But at the end of the day, Travis is. Travis don't care about that, and I don't really care about that other than, we feel like we earned it, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's not for us to make that decision who goes to that award show. What we're focused on is being the best version of ourselves, and I think that you see that Travis hasn't let that affect him. He's now the all-time leader in the ACC. And James Conner was an unbelievable player in the ACC, and he's able to surpass him. So, and really, when I went up to Travis afterward and asked him, "Did you know that?" He's like, "Nah, I didn't even know that." So that's the kind of young man that he is. So he's not going to be defined by whether or not he's at that award show. I think what he's focused on is being the best version of himself to help us through this championship phase.
Trevor, complete.
To see Tavian in a Gamecock uniform, and then at the end of the game realize it's more than just a rivalry. It's about the young man. Get to see him.
And
just tell him how much you appreciate it.
And I made sure that I got out there early and went down and gave him a big hug because I said this before and I always say this. He's one of mine. He graduated. He gave me 3 years of everything that he had. Was a great ambassador for our program, great leader in our meeting room. And at the end of the day, may not have agreed with the decision or liked the decision, but it wasn't my decision to make. My job is to love the young men that I coach, and he did everything that I asked him to do. So at the end of the day, I was really focused on winning the game because we're on this side of the rivalry. But after the game, I went up and gave him a big hug and told him we were going to send him one of the shirts that I had made. He had number 22 and 27 on his eye black underneath his eyes, and that stands for C.J. Fuller and Tyshawn Dot. Those are his brothers, that passed away this past year. So I'm not going to let a rivalry come between family. But for those 3 hours, we were on different sides. But afterward, man, he's one of mine, and I love him, all the same.
Trevor completed 18 straight passes at one point. Was he as sharp today as you've seen him all year?
I think early on, he pushed a couple balls a little bit high, but after that, and that's what Trevor does. Trevor's able to understand where he's missing a little bit, dial back in, and then go on a stretch of 18 in a row and do what he needed to do to help his victory.
What shirt